Well, hello there. There is a new format that we need to talk about. So, we're going to start with our next Pirate King, Mr. Monkey D. Luffy, and we're going to go through the red deck, and I'm going to teach you what I have put together for a red deck in this coming up format. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you there. And welcome back, crewmates, to the Tabletop Pirates. And today we're talking about a new format for the One Piece card game. So, the pre-releases were, first week of October, and now it's the second or third week. And there's a new format that started called the Deck Limited Battle. Doesn't really roll off the tongue very well, so, what is it? DLB Deck Limited Battle for short. And this format is where you can take 2 starter decks and the promo pack cards and make a constructed deck out of it. So it is the game's first constructed deck format, and it is actually quite exciting because you can actually mess with the card ratios and not just be stuck with your starter deck. So here is the list for the starter deck base. And then over here, I made a little list of the promos that are available from the promo pack. There are 5 cards in total, 1 for each color, and then a extra event just for red. So what you can do is you can take the 1 to 2 cards for your color and mess around with those. And then you can increase and decrease the ratios from your starter deck by having a second one. So, what are we doing with this? I have gone ahead and made my list over here for the combination construction deck build. So, what has changed? So what I started with was I have tested this deck, so you can at least trust in that it has a few games under its belt. I am pretty comfortable where it's at right now. The changes are as follows. So we are playing 3 copies of the promo Luffy, which is a completely new change. I guess I'll tell you what changes I made, and then I'll go into why I made them so we can go through the cards. I went up to 4 copies of the SR Luffy. I am still playing for Frankie, and for Robin, I upped the Zoro count to 4 from 2. Still playing for Sanji. For Vivi, I upped the Brook count to 4 instead of 2. I am still playing for the Duck. For the Chopper, because it is the only blocker in red, unfortunately. Still playing for Nami, I upped the Jet Pistol count from 2 to 4. And I upped the Guard point from 2 to 3. So what cards got cut? Let's go back over to the normal list. So if you see, I cut Jinbei. So Jinbei is a 3-drop 5k. And he has a Dawn skill with Dawn under him. When attacking your leader or one of your characters other than him gains 1,000. So what I did is I pretty much cut him for the extra Zoro slots. And that means I cut 4 cards for 2 cards. So that other 2 went to another card that I bumped up for the promo, because that's a card entirely out of the deck. And I didn't want to have too many cards without guard. The Jinbei doesn't have guard, the promo doesn't have guard, and the Zoro doesn't have guard. So I pretty much just swapped the Jinbei out completely and replaced him with other attackers that I wanted more that also just didn't have guard, so there wasn't any big deal with the whole guard situation because you don't want to not have a guard. So like I said, Zoro went up. Usopp completely out of the deck. I do not like Usopp. He is not great. So he is completely out of the deck. I replaced him with, whatever cards you really want to replace him with. Because unlike Jinbei, there wasn't a straight, card for card. Like, this is the card I'm comparing it to. I'll trade those out. Where I valued Zoro more than Jinbei. Jinbei's not bad, per se. I just didn't feel he was necessary. And I'd rather just have the Zoro and the Luffy promos in his place. The Usopp, his effect is so weak, in my opinion, that there was no reason to play him other than the fact that he had, a guard on him, really. That's all I used him for. So pretty much you can go ahead and take the 4 Usopp, and I pretty much 2 of those went straight to Brooks, because they just statically have more guard, so they're the better card. And then you could say the extra guard point I put in wasn't Usopp. And I guess you could say, I put in the 3 Luffy promos, so you could say the 4th one went to the Luffy promo, right? We can just go with that. I kept the 4 Sanji. I kept the 4 Vivi. I went up in the Brook count. Kept the Duck. kept the chopper, kept the Namis where they were at. I upped the jet pistols. I upped the guard point. And then we have the DLB Jumbo. So I cut this card completely because I do not like it. Why do I not like it? So, for one, you can pick any character on your board, including your leader, and it can't be blocked that turn. And that's really all this card does. It has a trigger where you can KO one of your opponent's cost 3 or less blockers. And let me tell you, that never comes up. You could play 100 games, it might pop a guy like 2 games out of 100. And then the main effect, which is the one that matters. My thoughts on this card are, why would I play a card that is only useful on the last attack of the game? Why is it only useful in the last attack of the game? So, if your opponent has blockers that you want to avoid, for whatever reason, you play this card and your guy can't be blocked. And if you're going for face, they can just take it if it's early game. If it's not the final attack of the game, if they don't have no life left, they just take it and you just wasted this card. It didn't really do anything. It's only good when they have no life, because if you have no life, you can play this, they can't block it, you can slap a bunch of Dawn on it and swing. So that means this card is pretty much pointless the entirety of the game. So 95% of the game, this card is dead. And if every time I saw this card in my hand, I didn't want to see it in my hand. And then to top it all off, the big Luffy that we now upped to 4 copies has that effect on the card by just giving him 2 Dawn. He can't be blocked. So not only does this Luffy just normally have rush, so it's just always a good card, when you need him to have the same effect as the event, he can just have it. So that was my thought process on this card. This card, I would just not want to ever play a card that's not good at least 60% of the time of the game, right? And this card is only good 5%, I'd say, at least. Or at least, at the most. And then the Sunny. We cut the Sunny because you just can't get that much value out of this card. And the reason for that is it gives you one guy 1,000 per turn. And it costs 2 to play. So it takes 3 turns for you to get a growth on the investment of this card. So it takes 3 turns to get a plus 3,000, on the roll, like in total, and it costs 2. So you need to at least pass the 2 turns to get back the 2 Dawn you spent, because each Dawn is worth 1,000 power anyway. So, and I cannot, if you haven't played Red, I cannot tell you how much it sucks to draw the second Sunny after playing the first Sunny, because it's completely dead. There are no discard effects in this deck that gain value off of discarding a card or anything like that. So we cut that entirely. So this is the build now that we've cut those cards, and I've pretty much explained to you why I cut them. And now we move on, and the boss is still the super rare. This promo in no way replaces the super rare from the deck. It is the better card, 100%. It costs slightly less. It automatically has rush. You don't need to give him Dawn. And then, like I said, with the Diablo Jumble, you can make it so that they can't block it when you need to. It's not an effect that you need to do. It's when you want to do it. And having flexibility on the card is always good. The reason it's, superior to this is this card does not have rush. You have to invest into it for it to gain rush. It's still a good card, but that's why this is the B plan, not the A plan. When you play this card, you give him 2 Dawn, and he has rush. So that means he's 9k. That is a big attack. But it does cost 6 and then 2 investment. But because of the way the deck works with Nami and Luffy using Recycled Dawn, you can actually play this for 6, use Nami and Luffy, use 2 of the 6, and make him a 9 with rush. So you're not using 8, you're still just using 6. So it's good. It's a nice stagger. It has 7k base. Very nice. The reason I upped Zoro instead of Jinbei was very simple. So Jinbei boosts something by 1,000 when he has a Dawn and when he attacks. Zoro boosts himself by 1,000 when he has a Dawn. So for the most part, that's the same effect. Let's be honest. Giving something else 1,000 or giving yourself 1,000 is still 1,000. Not a big deal. The reason that Zoro ranks higher to me than Jinbei is because this skill, if you don't know, applies during the opponent's turn. So if there is a Dawn under him during the opponent's turn, he's actually a sneaky 6k. He is not a 5k because it doesn't say during your turn. So while the Dawn under him won't give him power during your opponent's turn, his effect will. So he's actually statically stronger than Jinbei while playing him. So he's easier to guard if your opponent wants to attack over him, which is important. They can't swing a 5k into this. They have to swing a 6k, which is harder for your opponent. They have to invest more into a 6k attacker most of the time. That's why I prioritize Zoro over the Jinbei, and I didn't want to play both because I wanted some more guard. That's why I still play pretty much 4 of all the vanillas. If not all of them, I think I still just play 4 of every single one. I didn't lower the count because they just all have guard. They all have the 1k guard, and we need that. Kept the force on you just so I could have, pretty much maximum amount of rushers, because with the promo we're actually playing 11 rushers now, which is good. It really helps you in the blue and purple matchups where they'll pop your guys before they can attack. If they've already attacked and then they pop them, it's not nearly as bad because they got some value out of it. And then I told you we boosted the Broke, not for his effect, but because he's a 2k counter. His effect can come up when you play him. You can give someone the Dawn you use to pay for him. You really only play him if you're really scrapped for attackers. Really, if you have like nothing going on, you can play him, set him up for next turn, maybe go in with him. And then that turn you play him, you can still use that Dawn efficiently. But for the most part, he sticks in your hand and he guards the attackers that matter. I like the 1-drops in this deck. Nami's a fantastic support card. Has the same effect as your leader to recycle Dawn. Chopper's, the good basic 1-drop blocker. Always nice to have. And Karu I play because of the way you recycle your Dawn. You can actually make him a 5k and swing pretty efficiently. Guard point just for a little bit more defense. I didn't want to go to 4. I didn't want it to clog. It is a very aggressive deck. You want some defense, but you don't want too much defense. And then Jet Pistol. Fantastic card. Just spot removal. Kills anything with 6k power or less. You're fighting blue, it can get rid of the Centauro so that it doesn't start plussing a million. Gets rid of the big crocodile. Gets rid of the Mihawk. You're playing purple. It's a little thing, it kills Queen. So they don't have the big blocker, but Queen already drew cards. They're not really losing any value of it, but you can at least scoot them out of the way. And when you're fighting green, it has a lot of good targets. It has X-Drake, get him out. Basil Hawkins, get him out. And then the promo green card, the promo kid that has the double break skill, get him out. Because all those cards are setup attackers. So they can't attack until next turn, so they have to play them, and you have a chance to go, and punch them in the face. They're gone. This is the build that I'm working with. I hope you like my little explanation of why I took cards out, what I think about some of the cards. And of course, if you liked the video, go ahead and give a nice jet pistol to the sub button. We are currently trying to get to 200 subscribers, and we've only been able to get that far thanks to you guys, so thank you very much. We have lots of, what's the word, high hopes for getting, we're trying to get to 1,000, because that's kind of when the whole YouTube thing even start the gears start grinding and stuff. We can actually, start getting some funding back into the channel to put into the channel, all that good stuff. I have other videos for these decks that I talk about, mulligan hands maybe, number management, because those haven't really changed at all. In fact, they probably mean more now that you can consistently see the cards you want to see thanks to being able to max out the copies of it. So I'll go ahead and put a link to the tips and tricks video, I believe, for red in the little thing that pops up on the bottom, so you can go ahead and see that. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time for the Tabletop Pirates. See ya!